was standing behind some trees over by the creek. And I had him dead to rights in that camera. This was the first night we investigated. He was over there, but I didn't realize I could take pictures with it. So I didn't get him. So there's 4 or 5 of us standing there, and we're looking over there. He never moved. We finally turned the Q-beam on it, and he stood there for a second, and he kind of disappeared in the brush. But I turned around, and I said, look over there. So everybody turned around, and that juvenile standing out there in the field, probably 50 yards away, in the wide open. And Tammy says, why'd you turn around? I said, because they're never alone. One of them draws your attention, the other one's going to sneak up on you. From what I've gathered, these dogmen are evil. And I believe the Bigfoot keep them in check from killing people, because the people that are living down there went and bought high-powered rifles, big handguns, and they were going to shoot them. They were that scared because they were afraid they were going to come in their trailer, because they'd been beating on the doors and on the walls, and at night they'd shake the trailer. And I finally convinced them not to shoot them. I said, don't. I said, because they're just going to come back with revenge and get you, leave them alone. So I contacted Wes. So that's Scott Chronicles, and he's like, yeah, don't shoot them. I said, well, what do you recommend we do here to get them out of here? He said, well, the best thing I'd recommend is to get that mowed and set up some trail cameras. So we did. We set up 5 trail cameras, and they mowed back probably 40 yards, and that stopped them from coming up there. But they could still hear them at night whistling. They didn't see them, but they could hear them. And they would still hear coons screaming at night, like they were getting torn apart. So we decided to put a bag of apples out in the trees, and we put them up even where the deer couldn't reach them. And I believe the apples disappeared. You'd have to check with Tammy and Russ on that.
Is Russ Red?
No, Red's another guy. Red. Tammy moved to Rushville. Her daughter lives there. Russ lives in the camper, and all the other ones gone. They're all gone. They don't want no part of it. So these guys were scared to death. And Fred, at the time, was Tammy's boyfriend. He's a big guy, and he's a farmer hunter, just like me, lives on the river. And he never really even heard of him. He was the one that bought the .308 rifle because he was going to shoot him because he was scared to death. They'd all see him, So I set that one camera up. There's a tree between Russ's camper and the trailer, and it's probably 20 yards apart. Well, here's a tree. So I set that camera about 5 feet up off the ground. And that's where I got the picture. I was calling it the shoulder. And I got that buttocks picture. I think you got them now. That's where those 2 pictures come from. The 2 dogmen pictures we got, the male and the female, where you can see their ears, was back towards the creek a little farther. But that would have been in the daytime. And then one day, it was about 1:30 in the afternoon, I went down there to check the cameras. Because I was going down there every 2 or 3 days whenever they'd call. They were here again last night, get back down here. So one day, all 5 cameras were shut off. They were actually turned off. And nobody took the blame of turning them off, because I told them to leave them alone, and I would check them myself. And they all claimed that nobody touched those cameras.
Well, it's kind of hard, too, to shut them off without getting your picture taken.
Not from behind.
On yours, you
can't. You can come from the side and flip it open.
Okay.
And when it flips open.
I guess you could.
All right.
Still be.
But this one day, about 1:30 in the afternoon, Russ and Red was sitting in the lawn chairs at the campfire, and I went to pull the cards and was going to take them home and check them. So I made my loop. I'm probably 40 yards away from them two, over by the creek. I checked my last camera. I come around, I got in the truck. I said, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go home and check these. So I got in a truck and I drove down to the first tee, which is probably a quarter of a mile, and he calls me. Russ did. He says, you're not going to believe this. He said, right after your truck pulled away, that big guy stood up over there behind the trees. He said he stood there long enough where I got the picture. And you got that picture. And I didn't go back. He said he walked down along the creek and he was gone. But I would have literally walked within 10 yards of that guy. He let me walk. I had no sensation he was there. I didn't smell nothing. I didn't feel nothing. You know, I was just doing my thing. A lot of times they say you can sense them.
Why do they watch people?
Yeah.
Why do they let themselves be seen?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something to it, but I don't know. I know once we started investigating, it did slow down quite a bit. The night that we got all the pictures was the very first night. And then I think they were on to us, and we didn't get any more pictures after that. And we had the cameras there for months. So.
When you were talking about the finger streaks on the outside of that mobile home, I guess. I know my hand, I guess you're talking about the four fingers, right? And not the thumb, but the width.
Yeah,
and
just like that.
Yeah, because, you know, you look at this, an 8x10 sheet of paper, or 8x11, my finger stretch is only about maybe 6-7 inches. And you're saying it was a foot wide?
Probably like that.
It's more like 18 inches.
Probably like that.
Okay.
Somewhere there's pictures of them. Are they in that album?
I don't remember seeing them.
Let me check my phone when we're done.